What's going on, guys? Nick Fury back with another video, and today we're going to be doing my top 5 most disappointing games of 2017. And as always, like, subscribe, and comment, and then after you subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get notifications when I release content in the future. Let's go ahead and get into the video. Ghost Recon Wildlands, I believe, debuted in 2015 at E3. My buddy Shameless showed me the trailer and we were just looking at it and I was like, man, this game looks really cool. The concept of fighting the drug cartel looked dope. It looked absolutely fun. Fast forward to 2017, the game comes out, we play it, and I got bored with this game within about 5 hours, maybe a little bit more, and I was just done playing the game. What I believe the issue with this game was, when the beta came out, they gave us a little bit too much to do on the beta. When you went and played the beta, you were like, this is pretty much the game full release. And so you were pretty much redoing everything you did in the beta, and it got very monotonous, and I about played 5 hours of it and I was done. There just wasn't enough to keep me coming back. I know recently they released the Predator DLC, and I know a few of my friends really played it and really enjoyed it, but I haven't picked it up yet. And so this makes number 5 just because the hype of the game was a very interesting concept. It just never held my attention after the beta. It never held my attention at release, and I really think that the beta plagued this game a lot. I mean, they gave us a little too much with the beta, therefore speculation, therefore interest wasn't there. And so that's my number 5 most disappointing game of 2017. Now, how do I explain that Mass Effect Andromeda was in my top 5 games of 2017, but is also in my top 5 most disappointing games of 2017? Well, first, let me just go ahead and say that I'm a big fan of the Mass Effect franchise and BioWare, and so I'm a bit biased when it came to putting it in my top 5 games. Obviously, it was still a fun game for me, so it still made my top 5. But there were flaws in this game. We were sold more than what we actually got. The facial animations, the bugs at the beginning of this game plagued this game at release. The reviews at release were just dog crap, and I believe all of that at the beginning of the game hurt this game. Let me say this game is a good game. On sale, go buy it. Just at release, everything at release, all the bad reviews, I feel like just plagued this game from the beginning to give it a poor score. And then they later fixed some things toward the end of the cycle of the game, which was only 6 months, but around July and June they got their final patches and the game was fixed. The facial animations were fine, everything was fine with the game, but by then it was too late. The game didn't sell well. EA went ahead and pulled the plug on the game. And so for me personally, as a big fan of Mass Effect, a big fan of BioWare, I was greatly disappointed with the quality of this game at release and the quality of the game somewhat. The story was iffy. The open world aspect was great. Some of the characters were bland. They introduced some new species, but we didn't get to see Batarians. We didn't get to see the Quarians. We didn't get to see anybody else. So for me personally, it's a good game because I'm biased and I'm a Mass Effect fan, but I have to be honest with you, it was not a great release for this franchise. Therefore, it's number 4. Oh my goodness, I had high hopes for this game, For Honor. I remember playing the beta. Me and my buddies, we were into it. We were playing it. It was a lot of fun. So we went ahead and purchased it after we got done playing the beta. And about 3 days after I made the purchase, I went ahead and regretted that decision. The game was a great concept. Vikings versus samurais versus knights was awesome. It was fun. The campaign was actually pretty fun. It was just the online that plagued this game. This game was based on a 1v1 honor system, but the game shines most in its 1v1 and 2v2 combat systems. When it comes to a big map, 4 versus 4, I guess we can call it domination. You capture certain points and you fight NPCs on the map, but man, there was no honor in For Honor. People would just hack and slash on 4v4, kill you no matter what. When you were supposed to be getting honorable kills fighting 1 versus 1, nobody cared. So that was just a cluster. 1 versus 1 or 2 versus 2, only certain characters were played, because there was a lot of characters where you could just spam stun locks, spam zone attacks, spam whatever, and you just couldn't stop it. And there was a lot of broken characters. I remember Shigoki, the big fat dude. I remember we were fighting some dudes and all that dude had had to do was grapple you and squeeze you, break your back, do the backbreaker, and that was it. And there was no way of stopping this move. There was a lot of issues with this game at release that I felt broke the game. On top of that, the loot system come to find out was super grindy, and it was better off that you went ahead and purchased loot boxes and purchased loot crates versus grinding for them. And I believe this game kicked off the terrible year that 2017 was when it came to loot crates. This was the game that kicked it off, for honor. Too bad it wasn't that great of a release and it wasn't that popular. People didn't catch on, but this is where I believe it all started. So we have overpowered characters that weren't fixed. We have terrible multiplayer 4 versus 4 game types, and so you can only play 1-on-1 or 2-on-2. That's not very fun when you want to roll with a squad. On top of that, the loot crate system was absolutely atrocious and a money grab. So obvious. So therefore, this game was put in my top 3, number 3 worst game of 2017. It pains me to put Destiny 2 in my top 5 most disappointing games of 2017. It really does. Destiny 1 was a game that I put tons of hours into. I believe it was close to 90 days worth of hours into that game. I know my buddy Shameless and my buddy Saltiest Gaming had put way more hours into this game. My buddy Ned Fink had put way more hours than I did into this game. And so we were just knee deep into Destiny. I mean, we were all the way into Destiny 1. All the raids, everything. We played it non-stop. It was the only game that we pretty much played. Destiny 2, I made a video of my day 1 impressions and I gave this game high praise. Now, I was a little bit on the hype. I'll go ahead and admit that, because then 14 days later, I made a actual review called Destiny 1.5, not Destiny 2, a 14-day later review after my impressions video, and I gave the game about a 7 out of 10. Here's my issue with this game. Bungie, from the get-go, they were giving us signs saying that they wanted more people to be involved with this game. They wanted more people to play raids. They wanted more people to be involved, more people than just the hardcore fans. The problem with that is when you abandon your hardcore fans, when you take the incentive out to keep grinding out of things, your fans are just going to walk away because they're bored with the game. This is exactly what happened with Destiny 2. And it didn't just happen with your hardcore fans, it happened with the casuals. When the casuals were done, they were done. They didn't pick up the game. They didn't do raids. They didn't do trials. They didn't do any of that. They were just done with the game. So your hardcores are left with nothing to do, nothing to grind for. And it took you till the DLC of not Trial of Osiris, but the Curse of Osiris DLC to actually give players an incentive to grind like that. It wasn't until December. The game released in September. I'm pretty much done with the game by then, and I'm pretty much done with Destiny at this point. On top of that, you hear recent news of them throttling experience so players have to grind, and then this new event that came out was pretty much a money grab when it came to people buying loot from Destiny. So it was another money grab, and really all I have to say is this: Bungie got in bed with the devil with Activision after leaving Microsoft. They got in the bed with the devil with Activision, and so now they're paying for it. I believe half their staff went back to 343 Studios to go back to Halo. So now Bungie's just left with whoever's left, and they're left with dealing with Activision. I mean, it's kind of their own fault, so whatever. Even though I want to come back to Destiny, I doubt I will. I've been keeping a close eye on the game. I have buddies that still play the game, and I get updates from them about it. And I'm just kind of on the outside looking in. I don't know. I'm just burned by Destiny and Bungie that I may never come back. Therefore, number 2 most disappointing game of 2017. Now, is number 1 so surprising here? I mean, from the beta, from the get-go, this game was plagued by the loot box and by the criticism from the gaming community on up to the media outlets. This game got pounded from the beginning, and you know what, honestly, I'm glad. I'm glad EA got called out, and I'm glad that this game didn't do as well as they were expecting. Reports come out that they were expecting this game to hit 1,700,000, so 107,000 million units, and it only sold 800 units within the first month. So there you go. It didn't even reach their expectations. And honestly, do I even need to go through the reasons why this game was disappointing other than the loot crate system and the multiplayer system and how EA tried to pull one over our eyes? And not only that, but the campaign was only 5 hours long. I mean, 5 hours, and there was a lot of action, and it was pretty cool. The game looks great. The game looks wonderful. Sound is great. It's just Star Wars, and it's cool to lose yourself in that Star Wars universe, but a 5-hour campaign from the beginning is no bueno. It just isn't. And that was its saving grace from this loot crate situation. And then all of a sudden come to find out it's only a 5-hour campaign. Now I know that they did a lot of cinematic things. The Inferno Squad story was actually pretty decent. It was actually a pretty good story. I wanted to root for the Empire at one point until they had a spin that I did not like later, and I'm not going to spoil it unless you want to play, but I was very disappointed. I wanted to root for the Empire in this game. But regardless, the campaign was just short. The multiplayer is just, I feel, unbalanced at times. The whole hero situation where everybody just saves up their battle points to get heroes at the end of the game makes the game so frustrating and near impossible to really do anything at the end of the game. It's just a cluster, man. It really is. I feel like the way they should have done the heroes wasn't just a battle point system. It should have just been random and just let people have fun that way. The star card system in this game is now even more frustrating now that you can't buy loot crates after everybody complaining. So now if you go play the game and people that have star cards from buying them or buying the deluxe edition or whatever, if you go in, it's going to be a heck of a grind for you to get good star cards. It just is, and it makes the game unbalanced. It makes the game somewhat not fun. So just go into the game just expecting to play a Star Wars game and not to do good, but expect to just have great visuals and just admire the game. You're not going to do very well. So all of those reasons, the multiplayer being unbalanced, star cards, the loot crate system, the 5-hour campaign, all of those add up to making this game my number one most disappointing game of 2017. So there you have it, my 5 most disappointing games of 2017. Let me know in the comments if you agree, disagree, what games in there that you do like, what games in there that you don't like and you agree with, what games would you have put in there if you could control this list, things like that. Just let me know in the comments. I love having conversations in the comments. It's fun. I love having conversations about games, pretty much anything. I like to have conversation. It's just fun to me. As always, you know, it's all about gaming. It's what you make of gaming. This has been Nick Fury, and I will see you guys later.